Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a sketchbook tour, seeing as I just finished this would be my fourth of these Canson mixed media sketchbooks, but I absolutely love that I've filled up since I started really getting back into art in 2020. In that time, I've also filled up a few side books, like some Inktober stuff, and these cheaper, I get these from Dollarama. They're a cheap paper sketchbook, but I use them for drafting, brainstorming ideas. We're not flipping through these today. Even though I have filled, I'd think about 4 of these along with the sketchbooks, and there's lots of thumbnails from paintings, all kinds of stuff. We'll see how this video does, and if you like this, maybe then I'll go through these other ones. But for today, we're just gonna really look at these mixed media sketchbooks, as well as a pile of loose paper that was from a watercolor sketchbook that I started right before I got into these. The watercolor sketchbook completely fell apart. And I think there's a few mini canvases in there because they were the part of the same art series I was working on at the time. Yeah, so let's just get right into it. So we're gonna start off with these loose watercolor pages, and the first off being a favorite BoJack Horseman quote. It's one of my favorite animated series. That probably says way too much about me if you know what the series is. Moving on from that. I am also a heavy reader. You're gonna see a lot of book-based stuff coming through here. This was from my first read-through of Dune. Sorry, Dune fans, it's not my favorite book, but I did enjoy it, and there were definitely some amazing lines in it and some amazing world building. More books. Fahrenheit 451. A book literally about a world where they burn books is one of my favorites out there. I absolutely recommend this if you haven't read it. Please just go out. One of my favorite classics. Absolutely amazing. A few watercolor screenshots coming up, kind of like the BoJack one. This, of course, being San from Princess Mononoke, one of my favorite animated movies of all time. I've cosplayed as San for conventions before. Maybe I'll, get a little picture of that up there. Yeah, there I am. This came out all right, actually. I'm not a huge fan of some of these older art pieces, but now that I'm looking back at them, I really like how much I was playing with line weight, even though I just got back into painting and drawing in general. It at least looks pretty dynamic. Another Ghibli screenshot. This one, Chihiro and Haku. Another favorite movie. This, a little bit of an experimentation. Watercolor seascape. Not bad. A little more anime. Khalifa, Dragon Ball Super. I think I had drawn this for my roommate, but then we got in a big falling out at the time, and yeah, so I kept it. I think she's pretty cool. Magikarp in Space. I think there is an anime where there's a Magikarp that jumps so high it never came back down. Or at least I heard about this online. I don't think I ever saw it, and I had to draw this because the thought of a little fish just, that was the greatest moment of its life. It'll never be that successful again, especially because there's no air. Don't think he made it long up there. This is probably my least favorite of these Ghibli screenshots. The night sky's kind of shoddy. Yeah. Then I started playing around with how to make a better galaxy skies with different things I had available at the time. This is a paint-along. I've done a Bob Ross painting years before that. Turned out better than this one with a friend, and this one I was trying to do that again, but I think with watercolor, while the original one I did was acrylic, and Bob Ross works in oil, so I'm not doing anything right anyway. But it was fun. This is just one of those blob pages. I love just doing paint blobs and finding little that turtle's kind of like an evil Bulbasaur. Yeah, anyway, these are always fun. There's gonna be a few of those. Just a rough page of working on Mothra's wing, and that's gonna come up next. So during COVID, I also got into old kaiju movies. A lot of Toho's back catalog, and I started painting kaiju in different materials, starting with Gigan here. Well, modified Gigan. Mechagodzilla Mach 3, or Kiryu. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, one of my favorites of the old Toho Godzilla movies. Again, if you haven't seen it, or you're not big into Godzilla movies, you might enjoy that. It is campy, though. Just warning. Biollante, my favorite kaiju. She is hard to draw, and actually I think I did all right on her back in the day. Yeah, could have been way worse. Big King Caesar face. Oh, these are these mini canvases, because again, I was doing the kaiju in different things. You have a Rodin, Anguirus, Angrinus, however people like to say his name. It's a cool looking kaiju who can't catch a break. That's just the truth of it. And this little Ghidorah that, looking at, I actually really kind of like. I mean, faces are a little bit rough, but the gold, the splatter, it's probably my favorite of the little acrylic panels. I really got to do another Ghidorah painting. The whole three-headed dragon thing, there's so much to work with. Watercolored Mothra. You know, so-so. Destroya. This is done in ink. Most of the ones on black done in ink. And Millennium Godzilla. Not Millennium, this is Legendary's Godzilla, from the one most North American viewers are probably more familiar with now. It's a cool design. I like the scale texture I got in with those inks. It's pretty cool. I wasn't too bad with these back then for just getting back into drawing and experimenting. Shin Godzilla second form, I redrew this in one of my later sketchbooks. Thank God, because this looks absolutely terrible. Oh, out of the kaiju for a bit. Zelda, kind of done in a interesting form. I'm not good at people. That is something that's going to be apparent. I think there's, oh yeah, more proof of how bad I am at people, and I think that's good for the loose. Gonna move on to the actual sketchbooks. So I went out and picked up one of these Canson Mixed Media, and I think at the same time I picked myself up some Posca pens. It was the first time I bought any Posca pens and started playing with them. I also bought some solid inks, some different types of metallic inks, a dip pen set. This is me playing around with a lot of new materials, so it's going to be a little experimental. I didn't do a title page back then, but this was completed between April 1st, 2021 and August 15th. So I think I did the first 30 pages, like a page a day, because I wasn't working at the time. This was inspired by a mural that's actually down the street on Electrical Box, but theirs is some kind of red constellation girl. Yeah, so the first half is pretty rapid fire and trying to find my style. Deer skull, interesting idea. Oh, another Bojack piece. This, I was still not sure what I was doing with Posca pens, because that is choppy. Godzilla, I think this was around Godzilla vs. Kong finally premiering. I was waiting for that forever. It's all right. Fish, out fishing. This was me playing around with dip pens. It's not a terrible night. Some Hogwarts dip pen stuff. Attempts at full Posca pieces. Yeah, you're gonna see, I think within this book I do start finding my style with Posca pens. It just takes a little bit of these type of things first. Sad leaf designs, these really lineless, cartoony dinosaurs. Oh, cool sword. This is metallic inks and watercolors. More dip pen birds. I absolutely love owls. I really should draw more of them. It's not terrible. I'm just drawing off a photo reference, I think. More lineless. Here we go. This is actually similar to what I still draw now, but goddamn, his anatomy is absolutely terrible. But this is watercolor with pencil crayon, a bright Posca background. It's a jank teeth, but he's got so much personality. I still love him a little bit. I did redraw him to a better anatomy T-Rex later, but something, he lost some of the personality in between those, so I still like this guy, even though he is entirely jacked. He's got muscles coming out of nowhere. His jaw is broken, but he's fun. One of the few places I did for, I think it was May around the time, so this would have been like, ooh, mermaid, and, you know, she's kind of freaky. Mer person. Yeah, not my best, not my worst. Business shark, moving on. Yeah, more watercolor pencil crayon mix. Later I start doing alcohol marker pencil crayon mix, but I'm a long way from really getting into alcohol markers at this point. More metallic inks, more fantasy weapons. This turned out pretty cool. I think this is this is acrylic, not watercolor. With, I do not know what I used on top of the acrylics because there's more than just acrylics there. I don't know, deer's pretty cool. I really should do more animals with furriness. I don't draw in this style very often. Colorful trees, some fun. Crystal crabs. I was pretty original in this first sketchbook. Then again, I was off work at the time, so had lots of free time. One of my terrible landscapes. I really need to work on landscapes. I think this is when I first got my new art desk and I just wanted to relax and paint. Crazy otters. And iguanas. Oh, and here's one of my first pure Posca pieces. One of my first, kind of like inspired by a D&D beholder with not enough eyes, a little bit space alien-y. Makes me think of like Lovecraft, Azathoth, and all these other eldritch beings that are just all seeing. They're fun. And you're going to see a lot more of them. They turn up in my paintings everywhere. But this, I think, was also inspired by my mom's dog's toy, was what I was looking at when I drew this first one. But they get better. It's my original, though. I want to know where it started. Also, definitely starting to play with Poscas a lot more at this point, and kind of starting to get a feel of what I like the almost stitching look I had in the eye there. I should bring that back. No, but I started to actually enjoy the style I was drawing in with them, and I lean much heavier into that. This fish, I have made stickers of him. There are stickers of him in my locker at work. I have friends who have stickers of him. He is still awesome. His name is Jerry. He is a sexually anxious anglerfish, which if you understand anglerfish reproduction, you understand why he'd be so anxious. We're going to leave it at that. Have fun Googling that if you dare. Creepy Cthulhu. I cannot draw water, or is this ice or land? I don't know. That could be just meant to be some weird land, but waves are terrible. My waves are terrible. Swarmy brain. Piranha plant. Other example of why I don't draw people. That is absolutely horrifying. Space whales and axolotls. That's pretty nice. Pretty sure this is inks. This little skull study. The horns are a little jacked, but the skull itself got some cool depth. It's not fully, like, none of my stuff is atomically correct, but I do like it. Oh, this is when I got my extended set of Poscas. So I was working a very limited amount of colors, if you noticed before. And this I got pretty much the whole set of the 5mm tips. So opportunities opened up and I drew this purple owlbear. I really liked the hatching back then. I still do, but I think I calmed down on that a little. The background's cool though. Some Pokemon. I was drawing, I think, on TikTok at the time and taking requests after this one. Yeah, someone asked for Mimikyu, gave him a friend, request for Pichu, Sylveon. Sylveon's a little derpy looking. It's alright, it's alright. Spiel and Glaceon. Yeah, these are kind of cool. Another mer-person looking thing. This one's I actually quite like him. I remember working on him a fair bit, and it looks like watercolor, but this is actually done with Poscas when they're still wet, and I was blending them out, and then watercolor pencil later. And then I think got metallic inks and stuff in there. He's a pretty cool experiment. Actually, I really like the creature idea of almost the seahorse merman. Might rework that into something sometime. It's pretty cool. This little fairy dragon, which I redid on a wooden panel, Posca on wood, which it's rough on the tips, but I think I almost like this original more than the bigger piece actually came out. The bees. This is another one that I redid onto a panel. It's hanging in my kitchen, actually. Probably bring it up on the side here. Cool piece, love it. Inspired by the game Hive. If you've ever played Hive, that's what the tiles are. Steampunk witch doctor? I don't know. Another cool insect. This is one that I thought of blowing up with the thistles and everything onto a bigger panel, but I never did. Cool moth, actually. I should try to draw more bugs with Poscas. You get such... Came out really cool. Still going with the bugs and background theme. Got the dragonflies on the pond. Probably, again, the pond water is the only thing I'm not a fan of. I need to work on water. Transparent wings were a nice touch. Not even 100% sure how I did that. Moving on. Cherry dragon. Pretty cool. Nothing much to say. You have a lot of problems, sir. Jellyfish. Again, I think this was done using Poscas watered down when they're still wet. Mothra. Done like a traditional moth. More watercolor pencil dinosaurs. Triceratops. Some kind of Dilophosaurus. His leaves could have done a little better. They look so flat next to him. This sea dragon. Alright, kind of not a bad concept idea. This is another eye monster. This one had stickers made up as well. I think he's still one of my favorite of all times. Something about that expression, he looks like, you know, maybe he's a little out of it, but just looks friendly. Not as mean as some of my others look. Displacer Beast, I believe I was working on something. I like the blue against the purple there. Not a huge fan of this final design. This is the sperm whale from A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. When the improbability drive runs and a sperm whale and a bowl of petunias appear in the atmosphere above a planet and fall to their unlikely demise. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is absolutely amazing. Read it, watch it, listen to it, whatever adaptation you can get a hold of, you will enjoy it. Roses. Very simplistic roses, but roses. I think we were watching a Batman movie, and this was similar to how the Joker's calling card was then. Also, not a terrible hand. I've definitely drawn worse. I've seen worse drawn. It's not my best either. A little bit of quiet bookshelf time. Cat's a little jacked. Oh, and if you look, I actually have a lot of books I quite enjoy written in here. Sapiens, Catcher in the Rye, there was Dunes there, Game of Thrones, it's the Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Fahrenheit 451, yeah, things we taught, Slaughterhouse-5, Lord of the Flies. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Sorry, it took me a minute to read what was in that corner. But yeah, no, and I think a few of these other book designs too are other books that were on my shelf at the time. I just couldn't write all the text into everything. And a lucky cat. That's the first sketchbook. Not terrible, not great. So moving on to our next. There's the sticker of little beholder looking guy. That last sketchbook, I was playing around with mediums, trying to find my style. I still play around a lot with medium, that's why I use mixed media. But finally started giving myself a little title page. This one took me a little longer to do. It was between August 17th, 21 and May 9th, 2022. This is Bobbot. He's also on the title page. He came up in one of my paintings originally, actually, and I just kind of developed him into a little character. He shows up once in a while. I started doing screen caps in Posca Pen. Another Ghibli one. Cute. Not much else to say. Blending Poscas into gradients. I think I saw a crack or a stain on the wall that looked like a whale with a nuke in its head, and it's a weird concept. Not my favorite piece. Definitely not my favorite piece. Just bad. This was cute. Little Alice in Wonderland piece done with fine tip Poscas. I think I drew this on my birthday, if I remember correctly. Mosasaur, a couple ammonites. I really do like the highlights on them. Most of these also were Shrinky Dinks, if I remember right. I was sketching them out and then I decided to color them in this book. And I made little Shrinky Dinks. That cauldron leg kind of sucks. This was a Draw in Your Style by the TikTokers up there who I was drawing this in their style. drawing their piece in my style if you're interested. Cool monster. They had a lot of cool monster art. These thumbnails. So we used to have my Chromecast. We don't really use the Chromecast anymore, but when you have it plugged in and nothing running, it just flips through these high definition photos. And I was thumbnailing them in the time they were on screen. And then later I went back and colored them in, but that's what this is, like 1 minute thumbnails and then coloring based on my memory of that not long after. I really got to do an exercise like this again. It's actually quite fun. And like those fish are actually really nice for how quick it was. I got better quality colored pencils around this time. I wasn't using watercolor or Crayola. This is Prismacolor, and this is one of the first pieces I did with Prismacolor. Stole this from Hell of a Boss. There's a few other Hell of a Boss pencil crayon pieces coming up. It's just experiment with blending, and tell I'm really not putting as much force as I need onto it. It's still kind of light and washed out. I get better with pencil crayons as we go. Blitzo, Luna. A really bad Ho-Oh. I think this was done with Poscas and then trying to shade with pencil crayons, and it didn't work that well. Pretty sure that's what's going on. Yes, because this whole piece is done like that. And I found I had a hard time getting my pencil crayons to layer very well on top of the Poscas. Though this doesn't look terrible, it's not my favorite, and I remember it was a pain in the ass to work on. This was going to be one of my watercolored dinosaurs. The sketch kept going wrong, it got ugly, and now it's a dinosaur old iPod commercial, if you remember those from back in the day. The dancing silhouettes. Well, it's a Pachycephalosaurus in one of those. I really need to do more experimental stuff. This book had a lot of this. This was a animal plus a fruit plus 2 colors in the color palette. So very restrictive, and it gave me some really cute. The watermelon hippo I like a lot. The cucumber gator. I love the leaves. Blackberry sheep doesn't seem that original. Same thing with dinosaurs. Again, the leaves on this P. stegosaurus get me. And the eggplant ichthyosaur somehow works really well. Not a huge fan of this ass. Don't know if I can say that right on you. Let's hope I don't get censored for that one, but he's got booty. Metroid Dread. I am actually replaying this right now. Awesome game, being hunted by the Emmys. It's Metroid, what's not to love? I bet Samus, I think. More Pokemon. I believe I was replaying... I shouldn't say replaying. Shining Pearl and Sparkling Diamond came out, the Gen 4 remake, so it would be a replay for me, but I was drawing members of my team. It's the background. Oh wow, this is completely unfinished. I thought I filled most of my sketchbook pages, but no, that's just a sketch. That is a monkfish from work. I like drawing ugly fish. I don't know why. There's lots of ugly fish in my books. They're fun. Invincible portrait. I'm not an amazing portrait person. Not too bad, not terrible. A worse portrait of an animated character is what it is. Dinosaur abduction. Just a fun... This is acrylics and maybe a few other things mixed in. This was my 100 hand challenge. I was trying to draw 100 hands in 100 days. I don't think I finished them all. I did make it a fair ways. I switched up mediums, trying to keep more interesting. They're not bad, and I need to go back and study hands more because this was 2 years ago or more now. I was drawing some of these on a moving train going out to Ottawa, and it still came out all right. Terrible stork. Back to the hands. Yeah, I should have kept going. I did not get through 100. I did about a month of it. Definitely something I should try again. So this is the first book pile I made, and I've been doing this ever since. I read a lot, as you've seen by some of my other, and this is how I started to track my reading. And at this time, even by looking at it, you can tell it's a little influenced by the whole book talk thing going on at the time. If you want to deep dive into what I'm reading, please let me know in the comments, and I'll actually go through all these book piles, but for now, yeah, that was read in like 3-4 months. Sometimes I don't read as much, sometimes I read more. The Scythe series, I read that in a few days. That was amazing. Pokeballs. Got another eye monster. He's, yeah, not one of my favorites. My white Posca was dying and you could tell I just didn't care. My white Poscas always run out at strange times. The Forbidden Bath Bomb. Enough said. Some D&D currency done as like a wallpaper. This is, I bought a bunch of scratch boards from Dollarama. There's these little booklets and these were rainbow ones. Me and a good friend of mine actually passed it back and forth and kept drawing one or the other. Like, I believe I started with this leaf here. She added the little smokes around it. I think there was a fish at one point, and then a story started forming, something about there was a tower with a dragon, there's a beast with lightning raining on it and roses. There was kind of a concept going on as we were drawing this, and it just got weirder and weirder, and I quite like it. If you've never done this with a friend, please just pass it something back and forth and see what you come up with. Some really cool stuff in here. This is drawing from a famous old painting, a bunch of the weird demon creatures that are in it, just, yeah. This is one of my original creatures. I'll talk more about her in another video sometime. Not a bad drawing. Just a little mashup of some various stuff. There's my little Bob Bot again. Shapes with outline. I do this a lot. Flowers in the same way, just very rough, loose. Here's some more of my dinosaurs coming up. A little happy stegosaurus. Stargazers is what I was calling my creatures at the time. A little breakdown on them. So I believe I was crocheting a bunch of dinosaurs when I was doing these, so for every one I crocheted, I tried to draw like an accompanying picture. Ankylosaur. This was after a trip to a museum. This is terrible. Why are all my people nightmares? I really like the monocle. Makes them look sharp. Another scratch board. Oh, drawing cocktails. This is something I haven't thought of doing since, and I really should, because it's fun, and I enjoy my cocktails. This is a concept I want to do a larger painting with sea life sometime. The whales and the... Yeah, this might be something I revisit. Surfing Pikachu. And a little bit of the end irony there. I don't know. So the second sketchbook here, my style progressed a little bit, more comfortable with Poscas. I was really more creative on the little art challenges back then. Those like 2 colors, fruit dinosaurs, the thumbnails, it's stuff I need to get back into. I still do those things sometimes, but I tend to do them in my cheaper draft sketchbooks than I do in here, and I really should do them in these books and color them, add that little extra mile. All right, number 3, here we go. This is my third sketchbook we're gonna look at. This was done between May 22nd and 2022 and April 19th, 2023. So I am slowing down on these as we go, but it's also because I'm working on a bunch of other side projects. I'm sewing, I'm doing more other paintings. I start filling up my drafting books a lot more. I was also taking some online art courses, and I have books of just practice and still figure and stuff like that, things that I don't do in these books. Anyway, little alien, little space guy, Starry Starry Night done in Poscas. This is something I want to do again. Take a famous painting and do it with one of your favorite mediums in a little more your style and see how it looks. That came out cool. This is the redraw of the T-Rex from the previous. Like I said, he lost a lot of personality. His anatomy's a little better, but he definitely lost a lot of personality. It makes me a little sad. Not a bad picture though. Roses. More roses. Bunch of paperwork too, I think. I don't do this that often, even though it is kind of a cool look. These are all just cutouts. A terrible mer person. Moving on. Leafy scratch boards. I still have a bunch of these, and I'm trying to think of something I want to do with them because they're really fun, but I haven't come up with a good concept lately. Another book pile. So again, give you a minute if you want to know what my reading habits are like, and moving on. This Viking I absolutely love. It's not my regular style. I don't know what inspired me. There's a few other really cartoony faces once in a while that I've drawn that I like, but I can't seem to keep going in these styles. It's not something I do regularly. Maybe I need to work on it. Maybe this is how I need to look at drawing people and not so seriously. Anyway, I like him. And I like Music Dude too. This is another example of that. Sometimes my stylized people actually come out better than when I actually try to draw a person. And maybe I should just lean into that if I'm doing people. This is from the game Stray. If you haven't played it, please do. Enough said. Adorable kitten. What can go wrong? Demogorgon. Stranger Things. A little Bob Bot. I think this is when I started, yeah. So some of these pages will have a little tag on the back. I basically wrote down a bunch of art inspo and threw them into a jar. And I draw from it periodically when I don't know what I want to make. And if it was a prompt, I will tape it on the back of the page. So if you see those, just know it was inspired from my jar. Cacti, which again was inspired from the jars. I got some kind of calligraphy pens I was playing with. An art store in the area was going out of business. It was massively discounted. I don't actually think I used them, and they're just kicking around somewhere. I got them massively discounted though. I'm not sure if I enjoy these. Angry Squid. Now, if he had more page space to do what he wanted to, it would have came out okay, but overall not one of my favorites. Scratchboard Mushrooms. This is actually reminiscent of one I did way back in high school. I actually think I found the old sketch from high school and did a piece of this. Feather. I think this, yeah, that was prompted. The duck. I think there was some artists online at the time doing a whole series of ducks. Oh, excuse me. And I absolutely loved it, so I don't really love mine, but I loved his inspiration. I got the Portal Remastered collection. I often like to draw what I'm playing. Some turrets. Portal, classic, enough said. Love the game. Watching the series Primal. Again, a lot of times I just like to draw what I'm currently enjoying in games, pop culture, music, whatever it is. Yeah, Fang on the Raft at the start of season 2. Some crystals and pencil and watercolor. Posca sharks. I do like sharks too. Sea life is another common theme. A few little watercolor potions. A very sad Cthulhu. A very ugly beholder creature. I don't think I like him. I like the eye effect I got going with the green and the yellow. I don't like this design. I think that's why he hasn't shown up anywhere else. Skulls, these were not meant to be really anatomical. I was looking at old traditional tattoo skulls and trying to draw more of a cartoony or tattoo looking shop style. I don't know. They're not bad. They're not great. They're skulls, clearly. I bought a few alcohol markers and I was playing around with them at the time. I love how this lizard came out. I was actually learning while I did this piece that you could remove the darkness with a lighter marker and playing with that a lot, and I think he's really cool. I'm happy with him. More traditional kind of I'm not a fan of this page, but I love traditional tattoo work. I wish I could draw it. These fish are from a D&D one-shot for Halloween, where we were trying to get a replacement for Silgar, Xanathar's fish. If you know D&D lore, you kind of have an idea what that game was. And these were the other options for the paper fish. One of my players kept the actual fish that was the solution. Keeps in his D&D book. I kept my others. A little more Pokemon. We were in the Halloween season. Clearly, if that was my one-shot, so drawing something a little spooky. Magic mana symbols. Freaky fish. I really like this guy, actually. I think he was based off of Viperfish. Not 100%. Messing around with neutral space. This is not great. pretty cool though for, yeah, probably one of the better jellyfish I've drawn. I like him. This is terrible. Does not need to be seen by human eyes. I think it's a phoenix, but bad phoenix. Bad mandala that someone asked me to draw. Messing around in a style I'm not familiar with. And a goofy eel. There we go. That feels better. After some pages of crap, we got this happy little guy. Or shocked looking little guy. Whatever. I like him. He's fun. Makes me happy. Clearly, Pokemon Violet came out, and I drew my team for a good portion of this as they evolved. Not a lot to say about it. It's a mediocre game. I actually never finished the second DLC, and that's sad because I played a lot of Pokemon. Started giving up drawing them, and yeah, they get worse as I go because I just wasn't feeling it anymore, and I first forced myself to if you're not feeling a project, stop. Next video game obsession at the time, Call to the Lamb. I actually just finished a replay of it ever since all the updates came out. Love this game. Love the characters, love the art, love everything about it. Completely up my alley. Been a long time since I drew fantasy weapons, so here's an axe. Actually, I think this is the axe from God of War, because that's the other game we were playing, me and my fiance were playing at the time. Oof, that's bad. Watching Vox Machina. Again, my ability to draw faces terribly. I think I also drew this digital, just as a comparison. This is an alright squid. It's cute. Terrible jackalope. I think this is the house style from Hogwarts Legacy. And you can tell what I was playing. I think a few of these too, I was just forcing myself to fill sketchbook pages because it felt like I hadn't been drawing enough lately. And sometimes when I force myself, that's when you get stuff like this. Or another Bojack piece. This is the painting on the wall. At least this feels a little more complete. Yeah, you can tell when I'm forcing myself into watching the Dragon Ball movies, drawing some characters. Super Meat Boy. This feels like I was a little more into it. I don't know. I could definitely tell I was going through a slump at this point in time and didn't know what to do with myself. Oh, and there might have been my relief from it. That's a pretty cool Spinosaur. Feel back in my element, more my style. I think I also finished crocheting that entire book of dinosaurs at this time. So the Spinosaur would have been the last one that I did. Yeah. Just a little bit of abstract fun. And Bot celebrating a finished sketchbook. I think I got a little bonus skull in the back. Yeah, this one, there's some cool pieces in here. There's a lot of pieces that feel forced, which is, I think, why this next book took me so much longer to finish, is because I stopped trying to do a completed piece when I was feeling uninspired. And instead I would sketch in other books, or I'd do coloring pages, or I'd work on other projects just so I wouldn't get super bored. Anyway, moving on to this last book. This one I completed just the other week. So this did take me a long time to fill. It started in April 22nd, 2023, and I only finished it September 20th, which is a few weeks back now. That's because I took my time with this. I was working on other projects, and I was filling up some of my other sketchbooks. I was doing more large paintings, other things. So it did take me a lot longer than normal to fill this in. Anyway, nice little intro page with, I think the sword is inspired on Sting from Lord of the Rings. This guy I absolutely love. If I get stickers of a design made up soon, I'm thinking him. Please, if anyone has interest in getting stickers, I am going to maybe open a shop in the upcoming. Let me know if there's anything you like that you think would make cool merch. Please. Just in general. I'd love some feedback, love some opinions. This is a map made with the bean or rice method, where you just scatter some rice or beans on a page, trace the outline, and base your map on that. It was fun. I can't draw map details. It's something I need to work on. Another book pile. Again, take a look. I was obsessed with the Poppy Wars at the time, and I think I took a long time to finish Day of Falling Night, so should have kept writing dates because I really don't know how long it took me to read this stack, but I think it was relatively slow next to some of the others. Just some colorful plants. I actually really like this design. No, this was a Parasaurolophus. I almost said Pachycephalosaur. Pachycephalosaur is the other. Anyway, dinosaur skull. There's going to be a lot in this book. I went back to the ROM, which amazing collection of dinosaur bones. A little bit of, I think this is when, not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom came out and we were playing it. I'm not a fan of this picture, but again, drawing what I was working on. One of my favorite childhood cartoons, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Gotta love him. Heavy into Sleep Token. Well, I was when that album Take Me Back to Eden came out. Drew the logo. Not much to say. This. So here's one of our redraws. There's actually a whole YouTube video of me redrawing this. It's one of my very first videos. And that is a redraw of that Shin Godzilla we saw. Oh yeah, there he is. This was done in 2020, 2021. A few years later, I think that's a good noticeable difference. I quite like how he came out. Gotta drop some more kaiju soon. If you have a favorite kaiju, let me know. Maybe he'll be my next drawing. Gauntlet, I think this was a drawing prompt. Gauntlet and Flame, that is 2 actually. Watching Chainsaw Man. Not the best piece, not else to say. He is funky. I think he is this is not looking at skeletons. This is not me looking at even a toy dinosaur. This is just me drawing out of nowhere. Those feet are kind of interesting, but you know, he's got a cool style. Like the color. Yeah, these are skulls from when I went to the ROM. They have an amazing collection, and I took a bunch of pictures and drew them. I have way more skull pictures in my phone that I should get to drawing sometime. I love drawing skulls like that. It's relaxing. Some leaves, some fall stuff, simplistic sunflowers. So a small series of Land Before Time paintings. There's actually a video of this up on YouTube as well. Some blob paintings in between off the Littlefoot. Land Before Time was one of my favorite childhood movies ever. The sequels, when I was younger, I did enjoy. As an adult, only the original I can make it through anymore. The musical sequels aren't my thing, but the characters, everything. Yeah, so have all the main baby dinosaurs as well as Chomper. I don't think he was included in the original video. I painted him after. But yeah, please check that out if you want to see how I made them all. So this would have been after Christmas because this is alcohol markers as well as The Boy and the Heron didn't come out till, I believe, January in Canada anyway, in the Japanese version. And I got some new Ohuhu, yes, is how it said, alcohol markers for Christmas, and this was me getting used to them. It's not terrible. And I got a few more anime pictures coming up. I finally finished Attack on Titan. Amazing series. Why did it take me so long to finish it? I don't know. Good old Naruto. I actually really like doing anime pictures and markers. I find it really works, and I haven't done this much hashing in a while, and I kind of miss it. Like I used to do that in a lot of my older stuff, and looking back on your stuff, it's cool. You can see little bits of like as your styles change, things you might want to bring back, things you're not happy with anymore. Ed, Edd n Eddy, another one of my favorite childhood shows. More blob paintings, more Cult of the Lamb. So this was my second playthrough. That means now I was actually on my third. Oh, that game's taken a lot of my time. Not as good as my other drawing, that's for sure. Daisies. This, I believe, was a prompt. It's a pretty cool tiger. Inspired by this Japanese tattoo style I saw where the mouth keeps going. Kind of went with that. I like them. I really like them, actually. Some more Primal. I was rewatching it at the time, and most of these are actually drawn at work. They're cut out and glued in. Had a few very slow days. This guy's actually in Sketchbook. Yeah, full marker drawing from Primal. A little bit of pencil crayon in the background there. My replay of Subnautica. Had to draw some of the fish. I really like the designs and how these guys came out, actually. I don't know what these are. I kind of sketched them out in one of my other sketchbooks once. I thought they were cool. I liked them, filled them in. No idea. Still think they're cool. Don't know what they are. Pencil crayon, and I think this was marker, not watercolor underneath. Anyway, been a long time since I've done one of these. He's so-so. Husk from Has Been Hotel in a lineless style. Came out cool. Some more Has Been Hotel characters. My most recent book pile, actually, I just added Crescent City, House of Flame, and Shadows to the top of this list. And I'm going to be starting a new book pile in my new sketchbook. Once I have 2 or 3 books read, I'll start that. Maybe I'll make a video of that. Anyway, I was not impressed with several of the books in the, well, the 2 largest books in this pile were probably the 2 most disappointing to me. And one of them made me not even pick up the next book in the series. Again, if you want to talk more about books, let me know in the comments, and maybe we'll get more into that. This is just a watercolor messing around. Kind of an alright purpley landscape. Some good old Posca pen tentacles. Yeah, they were drawing prompt. If you have ideas for my prompt box, let me know. I might be pulling some from that soon. If you have little art suggestions you want me to write down and possibly draw out, please. Playing around with Posca pens, layering. This is actually a bit of a sad piece. It is a bear jaw. I recently lost a very good friend of mine, and me and him had found a bear jaw hiking years ago, and I drew this in the weeks following his passing. I actually also have the same design tattooed now on my arm. But yeah, that's what this is. Bittersweet. Miss you forever. Love you, man. Silk Song. You'll make me wait forever. What else to say? Hornet. If this game ever comes out, you'll see a lot more Hollow Knight art. Little Salamander. I happened to find one a few weeks before I drew this, so good old. I actually used to search for salamanders all the time when I was a kid. Somewhere you'd turn over logs, rocks, hope you'd find a little red back guy. Yeah, and it had been years since I saw one, so it's kind of cute. Some abstract page fillers. These are fun when I just want to, you know, not really think about artwork, but still produce something. You know what I mean if you enjoy art. Some coffee. Another BoJack piece, because I rewatched it following the death of my friend there. It is definitely a comfort show for me. And some of the characters in this lineup are way better than others, and the proportions are... Yeah, anyway. Oh, this. So, if I could remember the artist's name right now, I'd let you know. If I find it, I'll put it up on screen here. She makes these beautiful paper cut skulls out of many, many, many layers. She does dinosaur skulls. This is not even close to what she does. It was just, thought I'd try something similar. So it's layered paper to try to give it a little more dimension. It's a Dilophosaur. It's all right. I do like the concept. I'm, again, just trying something I saw someone else do. Nowhere till their extent. Theirs is something they spend hours on. This was a evening of messing around with some paper and glue. The Futurama reboot. I'm not gonna get into it. Some more just page filler. Watercolor florals. Had been a long time since I'd done something like this, and I had some old watercolor paint on my palette. I just sprayed it down with some water, did some blobs, made myself some flowers. Kind of like those reverse coloring books idea. Just do this with shapes and see what you see after. Beetlejuice. Drew this the night before I went to see it. I found the movie had a lot of unnecessary side plot that didn't need to be there, but Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice will always be amazing. Seeing those sandworms done in the old like stop motion claymation style, absolutely amazing. No complaints there. Still a good movie. Didn't disgrace the original in any way. Little Lady Gazer. Princess Kenny. Yeah, I was rewatching some older South Park at the time, and was I rewatching it or was I watching someone play Stick of Truth again? Either way, Princess Kenny. absolutely love. So these are my first 2 attempts at block printing. I bought a speedball quick carve kit, cut my piece in half, did this little T-Rex skull and this rose. I've since done 1 or 2 more, and I really enjoy it. I'd definitely continue with this. I don't think these are terrible for my first pieces. And ending with Dumbo, because I think this was a drawing prompt. Yep, elephant. And nothing better than classic Dumbo. So yeah, I've now started my 5th sketchbook. This is the one you're gonna see coming up in videos if I'm doing more projects in it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tour of my artwork. Please let me know what you thought, some comments, some drawing ideas, criticism, really, whatever. Just send me a comment. I'm still pretty new on this whole YouTube journey, so every little interaction helps. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this. Until next time, good luck, take care, and stay safe out there. Bye.